Are your clients closer to coming back? Or still, see?
I don't know.
There's so much.
All
my clients want to train. All my clients. Paymon, you saw Paymon training twice a week. Everyone wants to train. I'm done. I don't give a fuck. Give me the fucking virus. I don't give a fuck. No, seriously, I'm so done with it. Just give it to me.
Yeah.
Look at Karen or Sharon. Sharon had it. She got tested positive for antibodies. So she had it. She lost her taste and smell for 2 weeks. Yeah. Sharon lost them. And Ken was living with her in the same fucking house that he went to. He got nothing.
Yeah.
She got tested last week. She got positive. Positive for the antibodies and positive that she had it. Wow. Okay? She never got a fever, never got sick, just lost 2 things, sense and smell. Smell and taste.
They say that like smell the first thing
but no sickness. Ken lived with her.
Good morning. Hi, Chris. Hi, Steven. Hi, Batman. How's it going?
Yes. They're sleeping in the same fucking bed.
Good morning. We're talking about the virus.
Pretty sure body fluids get
and we're like ready to open. So I think it's hi Ronnie, hi Dimitri, hi George or Jorge, probably.
I think we just need to open.
It was very cool that you guys got to see the gym yesterday. What'd you guys think? It's so funny because I was thinking before. Cutting my head off. Before Bas had even said that, after he was doing his cables, I was like, that would be really cool to show people around the gym. And then I think he felt my mental telepathy.
I love that.
He was like, let's go around the gym. I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. So it was very cool. Why does this one look, hold on, my other one looks a little crooked.
Yeah.
I think my tripod. It's a little funny. Thank you. I love our gym. I think it's very nice. Saudi Arabia, that's super cool. Okay, hopefully everyone has a little ball with them. Also have a chair handy if you can, and then we're going to use some wall space as well. Grab anything if you don't have your ball with you already. Is that going? Hold on, my Instagram is acting up again. Sometimes Instagram does not like to connect. Let me come out of this and start rolling your foot. Pick a foot and start rolling around on that. Let's try that connection again. And if you don't have, you just grab a tennis ball, something like that, and start rolling your feet around. So far, in each week, I've done kind of focus on one area a little bit more than the others, like we've done low back, shoulders. Last week, someone asked about calves. And here's the thing with calves, because I get tight calves too, and because of the way we are with our fighting stance, and we're moving around a lot, and you're just rolling on your foot with the ball. Is how we're starting while we're talking. So calves are really frequently tied into whatever's going on in the foot and ankle complex. That's a common one. So we are going to do a lot with the foot and ankle complex today, which is an area that I haven't specifically targeted. So we're going to do some extra work there in the beginning. And with the ball on your foot, remember you're pressing down, you're grasping it with your toes, and just going all along the bottom of that feet. But feet are super important. Obviously, I feel like I say that about everything, right? Shoulders are super important. Hips are super important. Thoracic spine is super important. And it's because they switch feet, if you haven't already, because they all are super important. But if you think about our feet, they're obviously our connection with the ground. So giving feet some love is really vital. And it's interesting. I was talking to someone on one of the FaceTime sessions I had yesterday, and I was like, yeah, remember to roll your feet before every workout, especially if you're doing leg stuff. And as I said that, I was like, guess what I've been forgetting to do every day? Because usually when I'm training with people in the gym, what I would do is, as I'm warming them up, I would roll my feet along with them. So guess who got out of the habit of following her own advice? I was like, okay. So I need to give my feet some more love. So you're pushing down under. Okay, we're going to come back to our feet, but let's do our finger stretch. So the reason I like this one too, what you're doing is you're taking 2 fingers at a time and gently pulling them back. The reason I love doing this is because since we're in here doing fighting stuff, doing boxing, punching, we spend a lot of time in this position. So things are getting tight on this side of our forearm too. These are the flexors. But our fingers are constantly, balled up. And also, move on to the next 2, do 2 fingers at a time together. Also, if you're doing a fair amount of lifting, you're also gripping things like dumbbells, kettlebells, barbells, if you have those things available. And just hold each one for maybe 10 seconds and then move on to the next 2. So you want to undo that. So how I like to put it. And move these fingers in the opposite direction. If they're doing a lot of flexing, we want to extend them so that because we're also extending these muscles here. It's not just the fingers. It's almost never just one area because, of course, everything's connected, right? How is everybody feeling this Sunday? Move on to the other hand. Let me see. Shin splints. Why? Yeah, Doug, shin splints are a pain. Hi, Andy. Shin splint, there's, where can I find the gym? The gym is in Westlake, California. Shin splints, we can I will respond to that more specifically after when I go through the comments. Try for your shin splints if you haven't tried this yet. Ice them in the evening and elevate your legs. So, hey Scott, mid back, like we talked about. Okay, we are gonna do some back things as well. And I will give Bas your best wishes. The name just went away. He's over there talking to his partner, gym owner. Of course, we're like, when can we open? And just all of that, all of that stuff. Any wise words about rest days? Yes, take rest days. Definitely take a rest day or 2, depending on how your body's feeling. Super important. With our feet, we're just going to go through range of motion with our feet. I want to make sure that this one can see my feet. Look at my big old hand there. Okay. So just range of motion with your feet. So just almost like you're doing a slow walk. Just come down from your heel and just slowly come down and up on your toe. Let's do that a couple times, a few times on each foot. Slowly come down, up on your toe. You can feel how this is not simply stretching our feet. You can feel when you get up on the toe, obviously it's stretching the calf as well. And when we address and give love to our feet, this can also have a huge role in people's knee pain. When Bas talks about his knee pain, he has no cartilage in his knees. When there's no cartilage, there's going to be pain, kind of no matter what you do. But he also says that when he doesn't stretch, and now we're just going to kind of roll on the outsides of our feet and come to the insides of our feet. Outsides and insides. So when you have no cartilage in a joint like knees, that there's going to be pain. If there's bone on bone, that's going to hurt. But he notices a significant difference in when he stretches, and that's why he stretches every day. And the reason for that is if muscles stay tight, they're not at their normal length, then that's going to cause even more pain and pull on the knee. Now we're going to keep one foot planted, and this other foot, we're just going to kind of rotate around and come around here. This is causing our ankle to rotate around in, it's called the transverse plane of motion. So it won't feel as intense, but keep the planted foot flat on the ground, and you will feel some movement in the ankle. And let's switch feet. And then what I want to do is, I can, on my page, I can't do it on Bas's page, but since all of these, I copy them from Bas's page, the videos, and onto my page, I'm going to put in the titles. I was thinking last night that I should do this for the recovery days. Like if you guys want to go back to, if you take a different rest day during the week, or you just want to go back and do some of these things, I will label what like the focus was. So this one I would call, foot and ankle focus, or whatever, centered or whatever. But knowing that that's not all we're doing, but I'm gonna go back and label those for you guys, and also for me too, because then I can be quickly okay, your low back's hurting a lot. Okay, go to the day where we focused a lot more on low back. All right, we are going to take our ball again, and we're going to get into the shin muscle. So let's first use our hands. We're going to do this with our hands, and then also with the ground. Rear leg can be at whatever position, and you're just going to kind of self-massage with your ball. If you don't have a ball and you couldn't find one, just kind of get in there with your fingers and thumbs. All right, and we're getting into this muscle, right? You feel where your hard shin bone is. That's the one we want to kick with. That's where we want to contact the front of that. So right on the lateral or outer aspect of that, get into that muscle. And if you want to come down more to sitting, that's fine as well. You want to be a little more relaxed with it. Just kind of roll around here. It's kind of two main muscles here. Anterior tibialis and the peroneal. So these guys can get tight, and they're on the other side of the calf, so they can definitely affect the calf. They can affect the knee. Again, everything is connected. So just trying to give you guys more tools in your tool bag if you have a specific area of the body, but also knowing that with what we're doing, we're hopping around a lot. We're obviously going pretty hard and heavy with these MMA workouts. So we want to, everything needs to be mobile. Okay, let's come to the other leg. And your shin bone, hard bone right here, come on the outside of that. And if you come on the inside of that, it still is kind of just bone. And of course, trying to roll on the bone isn't really going to do much. If anyone has a foam roller at home too, I do use foam rollers pretty much every day as well. You can do similar things with a foam roller. The ball is a little more exact or precise or concentrated, or however you want to say, and just kind of mix up, go back and forth between the two. I'm so glad you guys are all here on a Sunday. How are you guys feeling with all of this stuff? We're going to be starting week 7, right, of the workouts. It's like, dude, it's like that's how long, this has been going on. So it's a timeline for how long we've been dealing with all of this. Now, similar way to get in here, since we've just done that a little bit, we're just kind of go through this one quickly, but you can use the ground and your body weight if you want to get in here to these muscles a little bit more. And also, you can move back a little bit more. So if I'm showing up here, you can get a little more to the outer aspect right before you would be coming around to the calf. This is a little more on the peroneal muscle, but I can feel it feels tight to me too, which it should with what we're doing. And you can go up towards the knee, but don't roll on the actual knee joint. That would just hurt, and that's never You never want to really do foam rolling or ball rolling or whatever on an actual joint or bone. This is all for muscle and fascia. So you want to make sure you're in soft tissue. Let's switch around to the other leg. And get in there. And you may, just like with everything else, like we've said before, you may notice differences between sides. You know what I thought was really cool? Hopefully some of you guys are watching, but when I was asking about the weather where you were to like hear the feedback, I thought that was so cool. It's really, I just think it's really fascinating to have developed cool connections to people all around the world. And it just totally goes to show that we are all connected, and especially in something like this, like we're all experiencing this crazy situation, and some people have it way worse than others, and that is so sad. We're pretty fortunate here in California, at least in the county that the gym is in. I feel like we didn't get hit very hard, so I'm super grateful for that. And like I've mentioned to you guys before, so grateful for being able to do this. Now we're going to move this over to our calf. And I forgot to mention, if you guys have any sort of foam block or anything where you can elevate a little bit, that's a little bit more ideal to get into the calf. Otherwise, use the ground. And again, if you don't have a ball, dig in there with your hands, with your fingers and your thumbs, dig in there. Like I tend to have knots like right here as often as I roll. I don't know, they just don't go away. And when you're rolling your calf, don't tense your foot, but also feel free to hold a spot, especially if like the knot that I have right here. Hold it and move your foot around, because you can feel that's kind of massaging the muscle in a different way when you're just keeping steady pressure, but moving your foot, the muscle is still being massaged. I just got an ankle crack. And also feel free to roll around. Oh, the calf knots are real. Oh, and I don't know if it's from being on the ball of the foot, but you know what? It's not, because the right foot is the one that I'm on the ball of the foot of more often when I'm an orthodox, but lefty will probably have this same knot too, because it usually does. Let's go over to the other one and let's see if it does. So remember, for the most part, when you're rolling around with the ball, the foot is not tense. Just have the ankle and the foot relaxed. Roll around. I can feel it on this side. It's not quite as intense as it was on the right side, so maybe it is from being on the ball of the foot more often, because I'm an orthodox more often. Maybe that means I need to switch stances even more. Whenever it gets to the last round with the sprawls, I've noticed I tend to switch stances less, because it's already tiring, and the switching stances, since uses more brain power, I'm all like, that's right. I think like subconsciously, I was just noticing that, and I was laughing. Like, I'm really good about switching stances. The first round when it's just punching, second round when it's punching and kneeing, I'm a little less good about switching stances, and then third round, not good about switching stances. So I thought that was funny. Okay, kneeling foot stretch. So we're going to come, and toes are going to be on the ground, and then just kind of sit back and feel your feet stretching when you're sitting back on your toes. Hold that for a little bit. I'm just going to come glance at the comments, see if there are any other specific questions. Connected. Fat Cat. I like that name. That's funny. Do you know who's Paulo Shore? I don't know who that is, Simon. I don't know. Nailing with the foam roller, says Paul. Nice.
Nice. Is that a lacrosse ball? That one probably is. That's a good question. Lacrosse balls are kind of, David, are kind of the gold standard for rolling. They're better than tennis balls, in my opinion. You just had to order more, David. Nice. My favorite kind are some set of ones from a place called Yoga Tune-Up Fitness. And they're really good. Finish with these toes. They're really good. I'll come show you the set up close a little bit. Okay, we're going to stretch our shins now. So similar to that, now you're going to take and come on the tops of your feet. And we've rolled out the muscles on the front of our shins. See if you can sit back onto your feet and just let them passively stretch now. This may or may not feel good. If it's a bad pain, please don't do it. If it's too intense or if it's hurting your knees because things, because your knees hurt and things aren't loose enough yet, please don't force it. I don't want stretching to ever feel really bad. It also requires a fair amount of ankle flexibility to sit back there. You can also come into it, or you can just hold as far as you can go and support yourself and not sit all the way down on your feet. So depending on your range and how things feel, like I can feel that it is a big stretch in my ankles here, but it's not unbearable. It's not, it's not pain. It's just kind of an extreme, so to speak, stretch, but it's not bad pain. I don't know that I would want to sit here for like 20 minutes. I think things would get a little too stiff, but feel the difference. And I think you guys are pretty good at, we've talked about this, at feeling the difference between bad pain and good pain. Good pain. Pain where it's like your body needs it, but it's not doing damage. Okay, we're gonna come over to the wall. So I'm gonna move you guys a little bit. I'm gonna show you this set that I really love from the balls in the ball sack. Here we go. Where's Bozzy? That's what she said. So there's three different sizes, and it's called Yoga Tune. It's so weird how things are like, whoa, how do I make it straight? It's so hard to make it straight in there. But the different sizes, and you can take one out, foot stretch, yes. You can take one out and use one at a time. These are a little bit softer than lacrosse balls. I kind of do like the harder lacrosse ball to roll my feet on, honestly. But these are really good too when you're using one at a time, how they grip the skin and really try to help with that fascia release. It's really a nice feel. Okay, I'm going to point you guys towards the wall. And hopefully you have a wall nearby to use. Focusing on the feet. Ishtar said, whoa, busted knee. This hurts. Yeah, that would hurt with a busted knee. Sorry, that long comment went away. I was going to reply to it, but I will reply to all the comments later too. Okay, let's come against the wall. And first we're going to be kind of in like a split squat or a lunge against the wall. And we're going to leave our knee relatively straight, but not locked out. So you can put your hands against the wall. And we're not doing the calves yet. And just kind of pressure into the wall a little bit, leaving my knee with just a slight bend. So I'm not forcing my knee straight. We could do that for a different effect. But instead, let's just leave the knee a little bit soft. Try to have your heel down on the ground because you will feel a little bit of a calf stretch, but that's not our primary focus yet. And just press a little bit into the wall. And while you're pressing, keep holding that. While you're pressing into the wall, try to keep your chest open so that you're maintaining good posture in your upper body. Okay, let's hold that for a little bit more, and then we're going to move the foot in a different direction. Now take the foot and move it
behind the front foot, just so it's crossing behind you. And same thing with the knee. The knee is soft, so it's not locked. Not that it's wrong to be locked, because it's not. There's all kinds of variations, but let's leave it soft for now. Keep those shoulders back. Okay, let's come to the other foot. Straight back first. I almost went across first. And heel on the ground. Keeping another thing, stay and hold that position. Another thing is what your pelvis is doing. So if I'm against the wall here, unless I'm specifically trying to stretch the hamstring more, try to check and see that your pelvis is directly underneath you. So you kind of feel like, my favorite analogy, because I'm a veterinarian too, so my favorite analogy is if you are a dog, I'm tucking my tail under, and that puts my pelvis in nice and what's called neutral position. So now move the foot across behind you. And this shouldn't feel very intense. I can actually feel when I come to this side, because my left low back kind of likes to have a little bit of a spot that tends to stay a little tighter. I can feel a good stretch here too. So we're getting a little bit there too. We're going to have a really good one to get that region also. That's a really fun flow that I like. Okay, now we're going to come against the wall and get into our calves a little bit more. We've done this one before, and I'm sure you guys have done this one before too. So the heel of your foot is close to the wall. Put your toes up on the wall. And now I'm still keeping the knee soft, and I'm kind of pressing towards the wall a little bit to get a stretch on that calf. Other foot, I usually just like to leave it flat. And then also pay attention to what that pelvis is doing. We're going to use pelvis position later on too when we do want to get more into the hamstrings. You can also, let's also rotate. So my foot was kind of straight up the wall. Now let's kind of just angle the foot inwards towards our belly button. And you just feel a little bit of a different stretch on the back of the calf. And the muscle deep to the calf is called the soleus. So that guy's stretching too. And now angle the toes to the outside. And there's a lot of debate about, like, if you guys are strengthening the calves and doing a calf specific, like with the calf raises, like, do you do them only in one plane, or do you do, with the toes out, with the toes in? There's debate, but I think do whatever you want to do. I do like to change the angle of the toes and angle them in and angle them out. And I do think there is validity in that. I don't think there's a right or wrong. Let's switch feet. I try my best to be very open-minded about things. And also research, multiple different sources and see what is, what is either being commonly, repeated from sources that seem very legit and trusted and have maybe some studies or whatever to back them up. Let's angle the toes outward. But also knowing that with so many things, with fighting, with movement, with stretching, with it, there's so many different ways to do things. And we're all, now angle your toes inwards, we're all individual. So what may feel and work fantastic for me might feel horrible for you and not work for you at all. And you meaning just another person. So there's always that individual factor. So I get a little concerned if I hear someone saying always or everyone or or never, or no, it's like, is that really valid? If you guys have your chair, grab your chair or go towards your chair. We are now going to, I'll come here so you guys can see sideways. Okay, we're going to get some more good stretching on the ankle. So put your foot up on the chair. It's actually nicer if you have an actual chair so you can grab onto the back of it and be here holding. But let's drop our knee down and come forward. So we're flexing the ankle as far as we can without it lifting up. Because if it's lifting up, then we're not achieving what we want to achieve with flexing the ankle. So dropping this knee down, bending the top knee as far as you can. If it hurts your knee, only go as far as you can, and just kind of leaning forward and getting into this full ankle flexion. Addressing the foot and ankle complex, I would be very curious if the knee problem or pain is not lack of cartilage, because if it's lack of, once cartilage is gone, it's pretty much gone. That's what I was taught in veterinary school, and I would imagine it's the same for humans. That once cartilage is gone, it's gone, and that's very painful to have bone on bone. Let's switch legs. But I would be very curious if it's not a lack of cartilage or an actual osteoarthritic problem. I'd be curious to see, as you do more recovery and keep things mobile and stretched from the foot and ankle complex, and legs, hips, everything, shoulders, all of it. But as you just commit to recovery, I'd be very curious to see if the knee pain decreases, because usually that's what happens. Usually. Okay, just going through full, and now just stand. And if you need to hold on to your chair, it's totally fine. Lift up, and let's just do some ankle circles. This can also be done lying down if you want to not have to focus on balance, but if you want, switch direction. If you want to have to add in a little element of balance and a little bit of core while you're doing this, then standing does give that. Go back the other way and the other way. Okay. Other leg. Let's see if my imbalances in which leg can balance better, switch direction, show up here. As usually it does, especially on a soft. Oh, there we go. Back the original direction, especially on a soft surface like inside the cage with the mats. And another trick to balance. There's so many fun, cool tricks if you guys want to play with balance. If you're really working, I'm gonna turn you guys back around. If you're really working to hold your balance, oh wait, actually, hold on. I want to do some pecs on the wall. Let me grab your one ball again. So if you're trying to balance and you really need to focus, grasshoppers, pick one point and look at it for balance. That'll help balance. And we're going to use the ball on our pecs against the wall. So we're going to come all the way around from close to the armpit to as center as you want to come, but not on that bony sternum, and press into the wall. Likewise, if you want to challenge your balance, look around or close your eyes. Closing your eyes it's crazy how much it changes things if you close your eyes. It's fun. Keep going with this. If you're on, do you guys know what a Bosu is? That half dome thing? You're standing on that, or even if you're just standing on one leg, but I like to challenge myself with the Bosu. And you close your eyes, it like changes everything when we don't have that visual help for our balance. It makes it so much harder. While you're here too, you can hold, if there's one spot that's particularly tight, you can hold onto it and move the arm and just feel how that gets in there differently. Moving the arm around. Okay, let's come to the other side. Sorry my back is to you guys, but otherwise there's not really a great place to put the computer and the phone. Notice if one side feels tighter than the other. If you have, sometimes if my pecs are really tight, as I'm on, on an area with the ball, it'll like tingle down to my fingers. Ooh, this spot is really tight. And just know that that's okay. That happens. You're not like having a heart attack. It's just the compression of the muscles so tight, and you might be, like on a nerve specifically or whatever. So it's sending that tingle all the way down there. Okay, and now let's do our tend to call them door frame openers. I think last week we did these on the wall too. Just put one hand on the wall. You can vary the height, so it can be high, medium, low, and open up the pecs. Let's also add in, I think last week we added in the pelvic movement. So just kind of move your pelvis around, and it's just kind of as you're holding the pec opener, just kind of adding a little bit of dynamic movement with a hip driver while we're holding that stretch. And if you guys, so like last week when someone asked about calves, which made me focus a little bit extra on the foot and ankle. This week, if you guys have other specific stuff, let's switch sides. For next Sunday, let me know. I think we've kind of almost hit everything so far. Trying to remember. I think the first week was just kind of a little bit of, a little bit of a lot of things. And then hip flexibility is always one that I still need as well. Low back / back, shoulder, foot and ankle. That doesn't sound like enough weeks, but I'll have to go back and review. Maybe we did low back and thoracic spine. Low back versus thoracic, I'm not sure. I'll go back and review though, and kind of label them on my Empowered by Dana Facebook page, because I don't have the ability to go back and label them on Bas's page. Okay, turn you guys around again. I think that we need to constantly remind ourselves that our bodies are unique to us, and that's okay to modify things. That's totally, I'm right there with you, Colleen. 100% agree about that. Very, very good. The tingles are so good. Fat Cat, I love your name. Well, tell me, and I'll see it later. Tell me if there's a story behind that name. I love unique names. Okay, let's do some cat and cow. Or like, do you totally like cats? I have 2 cats, so that's cool if you do. Or yeah, like if there's, or Garfield. Let me know if there's a story behind that. I like to spread my fingers so I have a good base of support with the ground. And cat and cow, remember we're in this all 4 position, quadruped position, and we want to try to get as much movement in our back as we can. You can do cat and cow standing as well, but let's do it on all 4s. Trying to have my wrists below my shoulders and my knees below my hips. So ideally, I don't want to be like here doing cat-cow. You're not going to be able to move your back as much. So we're trying to be where things are nice and lined up. If you don't have a way to see yourself, just try to see, like if I can see this big, I don't know, not angle, where are my words? If I can see that my arm is doing this and not straight, then just come Just come above your wrist. Use your words. Okay, round up as much as you can, letting your head drop. This is scaredy cat. And then go to the other extreme. Let your chest drop between your shoulders and let your neck come up. And then you also kind of feel like you're sticking your butt up in the air. It should feel like that. Like going back to my veterinary analogy, if you're a dog, now you're wagging your tail. And now you're tucking your tail under. And you can also make this a core exercise by pulling your core in as much as you can. And it actually is a really good core exercise. Feet, sometimes people move their feet with it, and sometimes I do too. Do whatever feels good with the feet for you. Sometimes I will go from top of my feet to ball of my feet and back and forth. We've done a lot with the feet, fortunately. But I think moving the feet from one position to the other just adds them into the mix. Fortunately, we've done a lot with our feet today. Another variation on this is what's called lumbar cat and cow. So lumbar being our low back. So Scott, I think you were saying your low back. So this one should help with your low back. So now we're going to try to just focus it in the lumbar spine. The way we're going to do that, I'm going to lay my head down onto my forearms and try to do the same thing just with my low back, because now obviously I can't move the shoulders as much. You'll feel a lot of movement with your pelvis, and we're still using our little dog analogy. We're still wagging our tail and then tucking our tail under. But now I'm just allowing more of the focus to be on that lumbar spine or the low back. And I hope I'm talking loud enough. If I'm ever not talking loud enough, especially when my head is down, let me know and I'll try to go check the comments. Pull that core in when you're doing that. Okay, so that's lumbar cat cow. Alternatively, we could do more of a thoracic spine focused cat and cow, where now we're sitting back. So it's a good thing we stretch this out, right? We're sitting back a little bit and trying to do the same thing just with our upper back. And now, because we're sitting back, arms are going to be a little more out in front of us, because if I come back over my wrist, then I can't sit back anymore. So this is a thoracic spine focused cat and cow. I was forgetting to let my head come with me. So let your cervical spine be part of that too, your neck. It's 42. All right, I still want to get to the hip stuff. Okay, let's come down to our back. Belly breathing. So those of you that use the O2 trainer, you know how nice and good it is to have your diaphragm involved in your breathing now. You can do this without, so those of you that don't have an O2 trainer, this is something I try to get my clients to do, and I try to remember myself to do. If you put your hands on your, so if you can feel your ribs, put your hands below, like on your belly, and belly or diaphragmatic is the fancy term, breathing. Inhale, fill your hands up. So try to essentially push your stomach out as much as you can. Make it big. Your low back might lift up off the ground, and that's okay here, because I'm not exercising my abs where I want to keep my low back on the ground. Inhale, fill your hands up. And then exhale, hollow it out, and you can give yourself feedback with your hands by pressing a little bit. And I'm not exhaling fully because I'm talking. But inhale, fill your hands up. Exhale, hollow it all out. And with that big exhale, your low back should come flat against the ground again. And this would be a perfect place to put in that 4-7-8 breathing here. And I do like to put these two together. So let's just do 2 rounds of it. Ideally, do 4 rounds of the 4-7-8 breathing at a time, but I want to get to our hip stuff. So the 4-7-8 breathing is inhale to 4 seconds, hold it for 7 seconds, and then exhale for 8 seconds. So let's do that just 2 times together while we're doing our belly breathing. All right? Inhale. Inhale. Well, I had to force those last 3 seconds out. So if you do 4 rounds of that, then you can put in your 4-7-8 breathing. That again helps to calm your body. It stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system. That's your rest and digest. That helps bring us down from all of the stressors in life and all of this craziness going on, and allows your body to reset so that your cortisol levels can decrease. Pelvic tilts. Let's do some pelvic tilts quickly. We're at 45. Okay. So with our pelvic tilts, now I am not raising my butt up off the ground, but I'm going through those ranges of motion with the pelvis, like we talked about when we were standing. We're going to create space between my back and the ground by really, if I were in the other position, I would be wagging my tail, having my tail up here, and closing that space off, tucking my tail under. What we're the technical name of this, just in case anyone likes technical names, this is an anterior pelvic tilt, and then I'm coming all the way through. I'm passing neutral pelvis and tucking my tail, coming into a posterior pelvic tilt. Go back and forth between those. The hips, as we've talked about before, and as you guys probably already know, should be a very mobile part of our body. It's one of the big movers. Foot and ankle complex, hips, shoulders, thoracic spine. So pelvic tilts here. Also, move side to side. So like we're hiking one hip up on the side and the other side. This is now coming into a different plane of motion called the frontal plane. That's side to side motion, where you're if you were a woman yelling at someone, this could be what that is. That's just shaking your finger no. How's that analogy? I just made that up. Can you tell? Let's do some knee hugs here. Low back. Scott, this should feel good. On low back. I think it was your low back that you said was bugging you. This is also a good place to put in ankle rotations too. Knee hug. I like to go with the knee straight back, and then spend some time with it there, and then come out towards the shoulder. You guys have done these with me before. That should feel good on the low back. Switch legs. I'm going to go through it a little bit faster, just so I give you guys everything I wanted to do today. Straight back, and then towards the shoulder. I could seriously spend minutes in this one. You could always throw in more ankle stuff here. And remember, it doesn't have to be an hour of stretching every day, but if you can get in, I would recommend at least 20 minutes every day. And to start and end your day with it is really, really, really good. Okay, let's now, lumbar rocks. Let's come up, and we're gonna go, I wanna do the 90-90 from last week again. And Brian, if you're here, maybe we can get that bear sit. Maybe it'll help to go through it again. Let's have our knees bent, chest up. So kind of similar, you know how Bozzy likes to do the shoulder stretch every day. Just drop your knees from one side to the next. We're getting into the low back here as well, and a little bit of side of our hips and the inside. You can feel, at least I can feel the insides of my thighs as well, those adductors. Just rocking back and forth. A bit of dynamic stuff. That's another big debate, isn't it? Dynamic versus static stretching. In general, especially before exercise, I do love dynamic stretching. Okay, now let's come into the 90-90 from last week. Let's come here. Okay, so one leg out in front at a 90-degree angle. The rear leg, the leg that's behind us, is coming straight out from the side of our hip, also at a 90-degree angle or as close to it as you can. My front knee is not on the ground here. So there's still tightnesses in my hips. We're going to bring our torso or our chest directly kind of over our front leg, only as far as feels comfortable. Also feel that low back stretch too. 10, 50. Time flies when you're having fun. Also, if you keep the foot flexed here, it should be a little more comfortable on the knee versus if the toe is pointed. So everything's kind of at 90. The knee's at a 90 degree and the foot and ankle are at a 90 degree too. That should feel a little more comfortable on the knee. Try to keep your back flat here too. Talk about that too. So rounded it's not wrong per se, but if we're getting deeper into the stretch, having the back flat and that chest still open, like I can feel more in the low back if I keep my back straight versus if I round it. And again, if I'm rounding it for a specific purpose, totally fine. Going back to that individual variation, but as soon as I flatten my back, I can feel a lot bigger stretch in this left low back area. And now this is the one where I really need help, and I can tell I'm not as flexible. Now we're gonna take our chest or our torso kind of straight over the rear leg, and haven't made much progress since last week. I still can't go very far, and I'm not even sure. I'm not sure if it would be possible to come. I mean, yes, it is, because yes, people can do everything, right? It's amazing how flexible some people are. But when I researched this one, when we're angling over the rear leg, it was written up by the functional medicine specialist that where I got this one from, that this is more stretching out the hip capsule, which is around the hip joint. So I would venture to say that doesn't stretch as much, but then again, what the human body can do is completely amazing. Okay, and now we're going to transition into that bear sit. So I'm going to turn a little bit here so you can see a little bit better that I'm turning on the rear leg, the toes. Come up on the toes, so lift that heel a little bit. And from there, rotate the knee open, keeping this leg wherever you can keep it. And this is about as far as I can go here. I believe the goal with this one would definitely be to get this knee more open, but this is where my body could go. So this is where we shall sit for a second. Okay, and now finish going with it. Let the other leg come with you. And now we're in the 90-90 on the other side. So let's, with a flat back, let's lean over that front leg. And again, you may notice the differences. Check your foot, so it's friendlier on the knee. If that foot is at a 90 degree also. I can totally feel a difference in when I was the other way, because that left low back of mine is the area that's always like a little tight. Like I don't feel nearly as much of a stretch in the right low back because that area is not really as tight. So interesting to feel the differences. And now let's angle over this rear leg. Now I feel a little bit more in the right low back. And this knee, as you can see, is popping up. I believe in an ideal world, if my hips were a little more flexible, that this knee would be all the way down here. Even if I'm not leaning here as far, I believe this knee should be. Get down there, knee! Should be down there. Should be. You know how that goes. This is where my body is right now. So it is what it is. Okay, and now coming onto the toes of the back foot, transitioning into that bear sit, and just kind of holding that for a second. The next thing I want to do is go through a kneeling, like hip flexor series that I thought was really cool, that I found from she's a doctor, but she's a physical therapist, and she does a lot of mobility work. So I thought this series was really cool. I'm blanking on her name right now. On Instagram, she's Doc Jen Fit, I believe. So I got this flow from her, and I thought it was super cool because she's like, you can go slower with it and use it more as as just a stretch, or you can also get to moving faster with it, and it's a great warm up and cool down. So I love this one, and I found this from her. So also I don't take credit from other people's good stuff. I think we're all here to share with each other. So I love giving credit to the people I get stuff from, as long as I remember their name. Or I'll just say, I got this from someone, but I can't remember. But she's got some great stuff if you guys are on Instagram and you want to check out the stuff she has. So we're going to start in a half kneeling position. We've done the half kneeling hip flexor stretches a lot, so or at least a few times rather. Okay, so remember when we're in this half kneeling, I'm going to come sideways to you. If you can squeeze this glute and tuck the pelvis under. Squeezing this glute is going to give a much deeper stretch on this front hip flexor. And then to make this a long fascial line stretch, same side arm overhead as the leg that is down. So just think of it, it's making one big long line. So all of these fascial lines are stretching. Keep this squeeze here, and you can come forward a little bit. We go through the 3 planes of motion. This one's just going to be a little bit different. With your other arm, you can open up a little bit, keeping the squeeze on that glute. Now, grab the foot so we get a little bit of a deeper quad stretch. If it's hard to balance, just put something next to you, next time or whatever, or be next to a wall, and you can hold on to that for the balance. Now, release the foot and come back into a hamstring stretch. Now we are going to utilize the pelvic tilt to get deeper into this hamstring. So now, if when you rock back, you can purposely anteriorly tilt that pelvis, you'll feel more, and you can play with it. If you tuck under, you don't feel as much of a hamstring stretch. So now we're using that range of motion that we got with our pelvic tilts. We're using that to get deeper into the hamstring by doing that tilt. So there's our hamstring. And now I'm going to come facing you guys. This one I thought felt so good. And now we're going to face towards that knee, and we're going to kind of drop our hips down to the side. Sorry, raise the back knee. I was like, wait, something feels wrong here. Raise up off the back knee. Come towards that knee and drop your hips to the side. However you need to, yeah, you know what, this feels a little bit better. And feel that stretch along the low back as well. Put your hands wherever they feel comfortable. And now open up to, I'll come around here and face you guys, open up to inner thigh or adductor stretch. Whether this heel is off the ground or on the ground is up to you. Does require a little bit more ankle mobility to have it on the ground. This is my tight ankle that I have to release manually. And now let's go to the other side, pushing up and over, and we're going to come through this in the reverse order. Inside of the thigh, those are adductor muscles. And then you can move through this faster. Come here, leave this knee off the ground because I did it wrong the first time. And come to the outside of the hip. Oh, did I mess up? Okay, wait, hold on. Yes. I went to the wrong side. And now drop your hips down. I was like, wait, I already got the right low back. I need the left. I need the tight side. Oh yeah, the left side, I can like sit here all day. And now come back, rock back for the hamstrings with that anterior pelvic tilt. So you get deeper into that hamstring. And if that's too intense for you to be down on this knee, you can totally be up here. Could be wherever it feels good to you. Get that hamstring. I want to finish before Instagram cuts me off. Come back up to here. We might as well, if we do it in total reverse order, then let's do the quad stretch first. Foot move out. Instagram, don't cut me off yet. And then you guys on Facebook and YouTube, we have extra time, but Instagram cuts me off on my at 1 hour. And then tuck, squeeze, arm up, the hip flexor on the other side. So there goes Instagram. My transition wasn't perfect because I ended up on the same side. But when you transition it correctly, you go exactly from one side to the next. You can add in this lateral movement here. Oh, I totally feel that my low back too feels good. One other thing that I wanted to do here that I think is cool too, and you might need to be next to a wall for this, but when you're holding in that half kneeling hip flexor stretch, is to also add in some chest openers. So, and this can be either, again, against a wall or not, but open up as far as you can and come back. Take your head with you. Come facing here. So if you take your head with you, meaning you look, come face here too, you're going to go further. If I don't look, I can still go pretty far, but get that rotational piece because, of course, let's switch to the other side, because, of course, we need that rotation in fighting, right? So might as well drill it in. And again, when you're holding this hip flexor stretch, still keep that glute squeezed. I'll come here. Keep that glute squeezed, pelvis tucked under, open, open. All right, you guys have a great rest of your rest day. How's that for a play on words? And I will go back through the comments. If anyone has any requests or anything for next Sunday, let me know. You're very welcome, Sergio. Paul, you're welcome. Todd, yes, all those hip flexor stretches. We will see you guys tomorrow. Scott, thank you for joining, everyone.
And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Let me know if you have any questions or comments or even anything for next week or whatever. Let me know and I'll pass it on to Basito. Bye, Brian. Bye, Colleen. Bye, Mario. Have a good day, you guys. Bye.